What's up everyone? So I wanted to make a quick video. I've had a few people asking about the rocker replacement sliders on the Jeep, and I actually built those before I started doing any YouTube videos. So I don't have video of them, but I was able to kind of scrape together as many pictures as I could from a few different places. So I got a few pictures, so I can make a little slideshow here in a second. Kind of shows you a little bit of how I did it, and I'll kind of explain as the pictures are being shown, and then after the pictures I will go over the Jeep and actually show you kind of what I was talking about and show you where I tied into and everything. So take a look at those pictures and we'll see you guys in a second. So right here you can see where I was cutting out the rocker panel underneath the doors. There's kind of like a second layer of the rocker panel that is just a couple inches back that I had to cut 3 reliefs in for the unibody to be tied in. And here you can see like it's a little bit different of what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do like the normal 2x6 beam. I wanted to triangulate it, so I had to cut a flat plate to actually plate on that angle. And you can see in the top right corner there, that is the angle itself that I used to actually slide into the rocker. Then I just had to weld everything together. So it's kind of a terrible quality picture, but you can see that I'm welding that flat plate in, and you can see the 3 kickers. Same here, just a different angle, just welding that flat plate into the angle, and you can see the kickers coming off there. This is how it looks when it's actually installed, which you guys will see at the end of the video. It's actually nice and clean here because that was right after I finished it up. Of course, I had to take it out to Moab to just beat the absolute hell out of it. So they've done really good. I've been really happy with them. The next picture is the same, just another picture in Moab. Shows here you can really see the clearance that it gives you triangulating that. It was nice. And obviously you can see I'm going to have to do some modifying here on that slider because this new tire setup is much bigger. So they are pretty dirty. I had to give them a wipe down. Obviously they're still not clean, but I had to give them a wipe down because I basically never washed the Jeep, so they're dirty. But I kind of wanted you guys to be able to see what I did here. So I did stitch it into the body here about every 6 inches or so. I did about a 5 to 6 inch section where I stitched it in. You have to be really careful when you're doing this because obviously this metal is far thicker than just the body is. So make sure you're keeping most of your heat into this side and dragging it over into the thinner metal here. There were some bigger gaps, so this piece wasn't 100% straight, which is strange because it's a massive beam, but it did have a light curve to it, which I didn't notice until after I'd actually cut this piece. So this piece was nice and straight, but this piece was a little bit curved. So my welds were a little bigger here than I'd really like them to be, but in order to kind of span that gap, I kind of had to. These screws here, or bolts, whatever you want to call them, they're like self-tappers. They are here because I needed to have it to like hold before I welded it on. So these were just holding the body panel, or holding the slider onto the body panel before I actually welded them on here. They did a really good job of doing that, and I just never bothered pulling them out because I just don't really need to. I think they look fine, and they, I guess, secure it a little more, which not really because it's welded on, but whatever. That is a welded edge all along here. So I did smooth it out a little bit. It's not perfect. You can see like right there is a good example. It's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. I'm smashing it on rocks, so it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, but it looks pretty good. I guess another thing before we go down underneath, so between all of the welds here, I did use seam sealer. So down here and here, because obviously I don't want water getting in behind the panel and rusting out everything behind there. Here you can see that the fender is just kind of floating. So, I mean, it's secure because it's still attached behind, like behind here. So it's secure, it doesn't move anywhere, which that'll change here very soon when I, do all the trimming here that I talked about. That will be obviously changing. So I'm gonna have to figure out something there, but that's fine because, as I said, I'm gonna have to change kind of this whole situation anyway those larger tires, it's just not going to fit. I did kind of mold in that end, or I don't know what to call it. Like, it's plated and kind of smooth out the end, so it's not just a sharp edge. Which I'll have to do something different there as well when I cut back. So I'm probably gonna have to cut back to somewhere around here and get rid of everything from here forward. You can see on this side, that's where I cleaned off, so it looked good. It's still dirty right there. But you can see that the clearance is a lot closer on this side than I got on the other side. But like I said, all of that's changing anyway, so I'm not really worried about that. Down underneath here, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3 kickers that come back. They come off of the slider and actually attach onto the unibody back here, which is dirty, so it's kind of hard to see there also. But maybe a little bit of rust there. We'll have to fix that. But you can see it is welded to the unibody as well. Same thing again, this metal is much thicker than this is, so just be careful with your heat so you're not burning through. As you can see, I do not have any kind of plating, frame stiffeners, whatever you want to call it, which I might do at some point to stiffen up that, you can't really say, well, a chassis, I guess. It's definitely not a frame. So I might do that, so I'll just kind of weld around those sections, weld those together. I'll be able to put a lot of heat into those plates and into the stiffeners if I do that, to really burn those together. While we're down here, I can show you guys. So I do have a Iron Rock off-road, the triangulated 4-link long arm kit on the rear. On the front, I am still short arm for now, but that will get the Iron Rock, the 3-link, whatever, long arm here. Hopefully not too long from now, but I want to get that done possibly before we go to Moab next, but I guess we'll see. And exhaust, you can see it just comes back into that thrush welded muffler, and then just a turn down right there. A lot of the reason I did that was just so I don't have to deal with the mess of dealing with the exhaust in the long arm kit, but I'm probably going to change that in the not too distant future and route that back out the back, but we'll see what happens with that also. So that's a quick overview of what I did with those rocker replacement sliders. I love how they turned out, and they do amazing. I mean, I've smashed them off of a lot of rocks in Moab and here locally. I've been really beating them up, and they've been great. Definitely overbuilt, and so I don't think I'm ever gonna have an issue with them. I probably don't even need to do the frame stiffeners, because that's kind of what I've done already with the sliders. But we'll see. I might do them in the future. I don't know. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you guys that had questions about them. If you do have any questions about how to do yours, or anything I can help with telling you guys what I've done, leave a comment below, ask any questions, and I'll hopefully be able to answer them for you. I don't remember the exact thickness of the material that I used, but if you guys do want to know that, I will, I'll search for some of the cutoffs. I'm sure I've got a piece of the cutoff here in the garage somewhere. I'll measure that for you so you guys know. I did use my Lincoln Electric, the weldpack 140 HD to weld that. So it's got plenty of power for everything that I will probably ever do. So it welded fantastically, and it is just a 110. I don't have 220, so you guys will be able to do pretty much anything on your Jeeps you want to do without having to use some 220. Hopefully you guys like my short video. Hopefully you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys very soon.